Trevi Fountain. Yep, it's cool, but it's more than beautiful. I'm going to show you my favorite things to point out to people right this way. When you come to the fountain, make sure you go to the right because that's where my two favorite little Easter eggs are. The first one that's a little more well known is the Lover's Fountain. These water paths cross and you are able to drink out of this water. If you and your lover drink out of it at the same time, they say that you'll be in love forever. But my favorite Easter egg to point out to people is this right here. This is a chalice that 𝐾𝐨𝐽 made, and he made it because there was a barber shop on the other side. And this took a long time to build. There was a lot of debris, a lot of construction, and the barber was worried that it was going to affect his business. He yelled at 𝐿𝐵𝐵, and so 𝐿𝐵𝐵 said, when I build this fountain, you're never going to see it. And that specifically blocked his business from ever seeing the fountain when it was done. One of our favorite fun facts about the fountain is that every coin you throw in here is donated to a charity. It's like 3,000 euro a day, and it actually goes to the hungry so they can buy groceries. Also, the water in here is completely recycled. It uses a ton of water, but at least it's recycled. The Trevi Fountain actually started because it was the end of an aqueduct that dates back to 19 BC. It ended right at the verge of 3 different streets, which is Trevi, and that's where the name of the Trevi Fountain came from. Right in the middle here, you'll see Oceanus. He's a titan of the sea, and the titans came before the pagan gods we know now, like Zeus. He rode a shell, and he had titans that pulled him, which are like the merman guys right there. If it is getting pretty busy, there is this wall on the right-hand side of the Trevi Fountain where you can also get some really good pictures, but even this gets pretty busy later on. This is 6 a.m. Remember this, because this is not busy. And this is what it looks like a little later in the day, so definitely make sure you come early. If you can't, you can get down here. You just kind of gotta get through, say a lot of excuse me's, and you'll get over here fine. We're here right now not to see the fountain, to actually go underneath and see the aqueducts. So I'll show you how we get over there. Text this number if you want to go under, and you're able to make a reservation. This is Flashback Cassidy to tell you how to get underneath the Trevi Fountain to the aqueducts. You're going to go this way, straight from the fountain. And then you're going to take your first left. You know this is the right move because of this sign. The last move is a right, and it's gonna be right over here. Because you're watching this video, you're gonna know the WhatsApp number. Most people need to find this to find the number to make a reservation. Make sure you do make a reservation. It is necessary, but here you are. Certain times of the year they don't have guides, like right now they don't offer a guide at all. But non-guided is €4, with a guide is €8. We're heading down the stairs now. An audio guide is $3.50. So we decided to get one audio guide, and James will relay the information and I will relay the information to you. So these aqueducts are still the aqueducts that bring the water to the Trevi Fountain. They're still in use even as we're looking at them now, which is really cool to see, and honestly not as far underground as I expected them to be. Some of the bricks they found date back to the 1st or 2nd century, but where I'm at right now used to be a housing complex that they think dates back to the 12th or 13th century. The way they found this is really fascinating though. They were watching a movie like next door and they heard running water, and so archaeologists came, started digging, and found all of this. So not only is it the aqueduct that gives the water to the Trevi Fountain, it's also the ancient housing complex. When they were excavating, they found statues, they found mosaics, they found columns, things that definitely lead you to believe that they were richer people living here, which makes sense with running water being nearby. This aqueduct right here feeds both the Spanish Steps and the Trevi Fountain. This sounds really dumb, but I thought it'd be a lot more full with water, but it's June, July, and August that you can't get a guide, but I would definitely recommend coming here with a physical guide if you're here at the right time. Aside from the Trevi Fountain itself and going into the aqueducts, you can also take a look at this church right here. The embalmed hearts of 25 popes are buried in this church here. Looking up at all of the frescoes on the ceiling, all of the paintings, and imagining how they had to be hanging there to paint every detail. It's 2D, but it looks 3D. All of the art here is always just so incredible to think about. It's crazy. Now we're heading over towards the Pantheon. this early, it's a really nice walk. Usually it gets pretty crowded over here, but it's like a 10-minute walk over there. So it's definitely worth doing Trevi Fountain and Pantheon next. When have you ever seen the Pantheon completely empty? That's incredible. The original Pantheon was actually built in 27 BC, over 2,000 years ago, which is why people say it's that old. But realistically, that one actually burned down, and then they had to build another one, and that one got destroyed, and another one got destroyed. Now we have this one that was built between 1112 and 1128 AD. It's actually built as a pagan temple back in the day, and then switched over to a Christian church, which it still is now, and that's kind of the main reason it's still around. And the Pantheon still holds the record for the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome. So I'm glad we got here early. It's 8:18. The Pantheon doesn't open until 9, and this is the line at the moment. Also, you may have noticed my little cover-up shirt. I do want to cover my shoulders in here because it is a church. So just throwing it out there, cover your shoulders, cover your knees, just out of respect. So let me just tell you a little bit about the inside of this place here. The oculus that's in there has a hole in the middle. It was originally built so that when the pagans were doing their rituals, the smoke could escape. They believed that the cosmos were spherical, and it is a perfect sphere. It's incredible they were able to build that, to be honest with you. For reference, the Colosseum has not withstood all of the earthquakes and the test of time. This has, and it's one of the only buildings that people believe is gonna last forever. And I know you're thinking what I was thinking. What happens if it rains? I will tell you, it just rains. It comes right into the building, but it's built on the slightest slant so that it's able to just go out. There's little holes built into the building as well. So that's kind of where it will absorb the moisture. I don't know how to explain that any better to you. All right, here's the line 20 minutes before opening. I cannot find the end anymore. It is deep down there. Do you think it's crazy that all of this was built in the year 128? Well, let me just tell you about the optical illusion they built up here. All of these squares get smaller as they go up, so it makes that dome look even taller than it actually is. They didn't need to do it. I was already impressed. It's absolutely crazy in here. I've got the tomb of Raphael right behind me. I've got the oculus right above me. Honestly, so many people say they're underwhelmed by the Pantheon when they come inside, and it's 100% because they don't know the history. When you know what all of this is, where it all came from, it becomes so much more special. It is not just a dome. Look at everything just built in here. Honestly, even if you're just a fan of architecture and art, this place is incredible. You can look around and count the 12 niches right up here. That's where they had spots for the 12 different gods like Zeus and Athena. And now down here, when it became a Christian church, they got rid of those and brought in some new statues of people like Joseph and Mother Mary. Imagine coming out this door up here. It makes you realize how small you are as a person and how large this whole building is.
It's just crazy that we're not even scratching the surface of this place. Like, we're just in the spherical church region. There's like a whole back part. There's a whole underground area. Everything up top. It's honestly mind-boggling.
I can't believe we got to come in for free, but I will say, starting July 3rd, it will no longer be free. We made it just in time, but it'll only be €5, and it's definitely worth that price to come in here. We're heading out now, but I have one more thing for you to imagine before we go. Okay, so I made you imagine it in 128 and as a pagan temple. Now imagine the Pantheon covered in gold, because that's what it used to look like until they stripped it all off to make cannons for Castel Sant'Angelo, and that's actually where we're heading next. Bam, new location. Last you saw us, we were at the Trevi Fountain. We did a little walking tour around and ended up at Castel Sant'Angelo. It's $13 to go in, and today little parts are closed, but we weren't sure if we had much time to come back. So now we're going on a tour of that. Welcome to Castel Sant'Angelo. Castel Sant'Angelo started as a mausoleum for an emperor, and later in history became a fortress for the Pope. This is one of the few places in Rome that you don't have to book ahead of time. There's a standby line that, at least at the time we're visiting, which is peak season, we were able to get in pretty quickly and buy our tickets. It's $13 per person.
Went from being a tomb to an impregnable fortress, to a prison, to a Renaissance dwelling, to barracks, and now finally a museum.
And all of this started in the 1st century. This is weirdly a place that feels really peaceful. It's definitely not. There's a lot of dark history around the area, but I think it's because they're not letting so many tourists in, or maybe not a lot of people are coming here. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's not overcrowded, and that's honestly the first time I've experienced that in Rome in general. If you happen to follow our Instagram and see the live that we did, we were on the other side of this door to start the live, and we did a nice 360 of the whole place, and we were talking for a whole hour with everybody. If you haven't, feel free to check it out. This is our Instagram. But now, being on the opposite side is insane. We had no idea that this much was inside. It feels more like a small city than a fortress, honestly. As you're walking around here, you're gonna notice all of the holes in the wall. That is both because it's old, but also because it used to be covered in marble. Anytime you see that in Rome, you need to know there used to be marble there. That's where they used to put the stakes in the wall. So it used to be even more grand than what you're seeing now. What we see now is just ruins of what used to be. And it's really cool to try to imagine that. Whoa.
Imagine being here, no lights, candles, marble, all along the wall, and mosaic all over the room.
Behind me, there's a bunch of pictures of what it used to look like. And there are so many pictures that show the bridge and people on horses. This is maybe a good time for me to tell you that this bridge used to be used for executions. It gets really, really dark when you get into the history with that, so a little bit of a warning here. They used to use that bridge for beheadings, and when they would do that, it wasn't just like a clean chop. It was a drown them until they almost die, break all the bones in their face, and hit them with a hammer until the head's gone type of thing. So definitely really, really dark history, but it is very interesting to know, and honestly crazy that so many people were into it. Like, all of the people here loved it. Wow, what a view. Yeah, if I was the Pope too, I would also be like, yo, make that my fortress. Imagine being up here and like watching the beheadings down here. Like, everyone's going crazy, playing soccer with the heads, and you're just watching up top. Best seat in the house. All of a sudden, we're in a really nice restaurant, and we were just talking about how we wanted some lunch before we came here. This is probably the nicest spot for lunch in all of Rome. Honestly, prices are not bad here, but you do have to be on it with the tables. We were just kind of watching somebody as they were about to leave, and then as they left, we were like, scoop the table. We just ordered lunch, and we're taking a look at the view right now. And oh, hi guys, what's up? Anyway, we're just taking a look at the view, and you can see from here all the way to the Vatican how it was connected. The Pope would take that way all the way there so that he wouldn't have to go with the public at all. And it's just a cool little fun fact. We got our soupli. We also ordered 𝐾𝐨 𝐵𝐵, and they bring everything with like the little lid that you reveal the food. And she's like, here's your 𝐾𝐨 𝐵𝐵. And it wasn't 𝐾𝐨 𝐵𝐵. And we all three went, oh. Okay.
There it
Grazie.
is. Grazie.
There you go. After trying the food, I would definitely say that this is a must-do while you're in Rome. Now, I won't say it's the best 𝐾𝐨 𝐵𝐵 we've ever had, but it's like gelato. There's no such thing as bad 𝐾𝐨 𝐵𝐵. It makes you kind of feel a little weird that this was built for a dead body and was a prison, and there were executions right outside and all that. And it feels so peaceful. Really weird, but I'll take it, I guess. This is Beatrice. Her family was executed on the bridge here, and it's one of the most famous executions of the bridge. They believe that she haunts the bridge now, and she only comes at a certain day, at a certain time, and she haunts wicked men only. So if you see her, you're pretty wicked. This hall that we're in right now, back when this was a prison, this was a cell for very important people, and I hope I never have to go to prison, but if this is the type of cell that I got, it wouldn't be the worst thing.
So this hall is named the 𝐾𝐨 Hall. It's linked to the imprisonment of the famous adventurer and alchemist Giuseppe Balsamo, Count of Cagliostro, accused of witchcraft and imprisoned in the castle here in 1789. I don't know if it has to do with Doctor Strange and the Book of Cagliostro, but weird coincidence.
It adds up. This place is never ending. We keep finding new rooms to explore, new staircases to go up and down. You could easily spend all day here, and I'm sure you won't even see everything there is to see, which is really cool, but we did not prepare for that. Now we're in a room of a lot of sad and scary. Right behind me is a statue of Giordano Bruno. He's also in the middle of Campo di Fiori as well because he was wrongfully executed, and at the time that he was executed, they would send you to trial, which is pretty much torture, and he was being tortured for 7 years until they finally were like, let's kill him. And he was burned alive. Usually they burn people with wood, but with him, they decided he was special and he got coals instead. So it was much more agonizing and painful than it needed to be. And then this cape right behind me is for Mastro Titta. And he was known as the executioner in Rome because everyone loved him. He was somebody who executed on the bridge here at Castel Sant'Angelo, and he would do beheadings. He was the person that decided it was too quick, too easy. So he would drown people, he would break the bones in their face, he would individually break bones on them slowly. He would beat them with a hammer until their head came off. Things like that, and people loved it. He is still super famous in history. So like I mentioned, at one point this was a fortress. So people had to overcome to get in here a wall, a moat, a drawbridge, and then right back here there's a trap door that opens up beneath your feet, and they would just fall right through. Right behind me, the wood there is where we think the trap door was, and this is called the Room of Urns. This is where Hadrian and his family were laid to rest. You can see the H right up here. And this whole room was once covered in marble, so it was super, super grand. Even without it, it still is super grand, honestly. This place has definitely got to be haunted. We're unfortunately about to head out. We didn't expect to spend hours here. We had no idea how much was inside, and I might catch some heat for this, but honestly, I think I like this better than even going to the Vatican. If you're here for a short amount of time, this is definitely something you need to try to cram in if you can. It's so worth it. That was honestly so incredible. Right up here is where we were eating our lunch today, and James said "so sick" more times than I can count. If that doesn't tell you how amazing this place is, I really don't know what will, honestly. But we had so much fun taking you with us. We hope you enjoyed the Trevi Fountain in Castel Sant'Angelo with us. If you really did enjoy it, please let us know by liking the video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.